Hey, what's up, phone lovers, and welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast for the week of May 16th, 2014. I'm Joe Fidua.
Oh, I'm Chris Chavez.
I am Kevin Grouse.
All right, we are back, and I think we're all. I kind of lost my cold, so are we all at 100% now?
I think we're operating as close to 100% as we have in quite some time.
That's good.
Yeah, my hole's like all sealed up now, so
Your holes.
for the most part.
We're like a sports team that gets hot at the right time. Everybody's healthy, everybody's back. We're ready
Yeah, I
to
mean,
make a
summer
championship
months are
run.
kicking off. We got to get healthy for. This is the big news time of the year right now.
Oh yeah, funny coming up.
Yep, and a new phone was announced earlier this week, the Moto E.
The
The
Moto
mo
E.
What does E
motto,
stand for? That's what I
motto
want to know.
economy.
Oh,
Maybe
good
that's
one.
good. But then what did G stand for in Moto G? See, that was my thing. I saw Moto G and I was like, what is the scheme? Where I guess all the
G.
letters are gradually going backwards through the alphabet.
I always thought G was like good, because it wasn't like high end, it wasn't like
It's
super low.
good.
It was just good.
Good. I mean, the Moto G I thought was like horribly low end, and I don't know. It's surprising that they were able to even strip it further. Like I thought the G was like as far low as you can go, but they were like Motorola was just no, we can take it back to like back in 2010 when cell phones didn't even have LED flashes and all this other stuff. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, they did a good job of stripping out just about every non-essential feature. I mean, you could argue essential because a lot of people do think at this point a flash is kind of essential, but it's not essential to the operation of the phone. I mean, if they really want to go cheap, they could strip out the camera and everything altogether, but then you're not a smartphone.
The Moto A,
Anymore.
it'll probably the Moto A. It'll have no camera and it'll just have. I'm trying to think like,
It'll just be a feature phone, but it'll run Android.
but it'll run Android.
But yeah, Chris, you want to let us in a little bit on what the Moto E does have?
The Moto E's got um, it doesn't have a 720p display. It's got like a QHD or something, so it's like a little bit lower. Um, it's got like a gig of RAM, so that's kind of good. 4 gigabytes of internal storage, which is a horrible idea to me. So it's just kind of funny because everybody just like all the tech blogs and everyone's going crazy about this phone. Everyone's like, man, this is pretty cool, and people are like, yeah, I'm getting it, man. And it's just so weird because low end phones come out all the time, and people just like, okay, that's a piece of crap. Like I don't want anything to do with it. But somehow
Yeah,
Motorola has made low end cool. But
that's exactly what I was thinking. I mean,
it's
these
the
low
strangest.
end cheap Android phones have been around forever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but have we ever had anything like this that $130, right, off contract from a respectable maker, and actually it doesn't look bad. It's not an ugly phone.
Samsung. I will say that Samsung, the Exhibit line, they did the Samsung Exhibit and the Samsung Exhibit 2 were pretty solid Android devices, and those were only maximum $200 off contract, just completely. You can walk into T-Mobile and just buy one for 200 straight up, and it was they had like dual core Snapdragon processors and stuff. They were pretty good, darn good low end phones, and it was just surprising to see that nobody ever talked about them. No one gave crap about them, whatever. But Motorola is just I think they've done it. They're hitting their stride, and they've kind of figured out where their target market is, and it's I think it's doing well for them. And yeah, I mean it is a little bit cheaper than even those other phones that I mentioned before, but um, it's just weird. It's just weird just to see people getting excited about. I could see maybe the Moto G because you're like, man, that's super cheap, $200 off contract, and even prepaid on Verizon. The prepaid services even knocked off another 100, so they were only like $100 no contract. That I could see, but the Moto E is just so basic. It's just so nuts that people are just like, yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
buy two
it's
of them.
super basic, but I think we might be at a period where these low-end smartphones actually start to make sense again because I think we finally reached a point where what is now low-end and more affordable hardware is not being outpaced by apps and software necessarily. So, what if this phone, I mean, just think of it, in terms of if this phone was released 3 years ago, it wouldn't be a low-end smartphone
Yeah.
necessarily. Dual core
No, it would be.
processing. And
This is actually what I was thinking about too. It was my parents still have an LG G2X, which is like what Tegra 2 processor, dual core. Four, I think it has 4 GB of internal storage, maybe. If even that, that might be a little toss up. But 5 megapixel camera. It's just I don't even know if it has a front-facing camera on that thing, but it's pretty much comparable to like a Moto E in some respects. So it is like it's pretty much like they took those phones from 2010 or whatever, and they just brought them back and they're just redoing them again. It's kind of weird. So again, it's really not for people that already have a smartphone because my parents, like I'm trying to convince them to upgrade their phone, trying to get them something better. So Moto G maybe, but the Moto E is targeting just people that specifically still have a flip phone. They still have some feature phone or whatever. It's getting them into the 21st century and getting them online and getting them to buy things and all that other stuff. So that's
I actually disagree with that a little bit. I think one of the things that is making this super low end phone popular is I think there are a lot of people that have a smartphone already that are looking for a secondary device and something like just cheap that they can buy off contract and not deal with anything. I've seen so many people who, like, say for example, the Lumia 520, that phone you can regularly get under $100 off contract. And I've seen so many people that already have like a high-end phone, they pick that up just to have like a second device.
Yeah, but why? That's kind of weird. I think it's probably just a lot less people. I mean, I don't think it's really a huge demographic, but
Probably not.
like we were saying too, like on just on the comments and stuff on Fandroid, people are just saying like, yeah, I think we'll pick one up. They already have some high-end Android phone, and it's just like it's so cheap. It's just like why not? It's stock Android.
it's like the first ever impulse buy smartphone. Where you're just like, okay,
So weird.
but I don't not need it, but I don't need it.
That is why it's getting the buzz though, because it is just the people that have smartphones. If you would go out and like, I don't know, go ask people at a Walmart somewhere, hey, do you hear about the Moto E? No, they haven't. It's not really getting that much like real world excitement any more than any other low end phone. It's just the tech people like, oh yeah, whatever,
Well,
130, I'll buy it.
The reality is that, I mean, kind of the people we're talking about right now aren't even the people that this phone was designed for. I mean, this phone isn't even really designed necessarily for the U.S. market. I mean, it's more designed as this is the phone that they want to be able to penetrate India, penetrate South America, get into all these emerging markets where people like literally cannot afford anything more than the Moto E. And I mean, the Moto E is probably still even a little bit pricey by some of those standards, but when you're talking about U.S. consumers, most likely the people that are buying the Moto E are like the people that want a second phone or that, and maybe it's good for that. But
overall, I like what Motorola is doing. I like what they're doing with this whole low end stuff, and they're kind of doing it where the Samsung and LG, they make low end devices too, and that kind of gives them their market share because of their success in the low end, but Motorola coming in and doing it, and they're not making 500 different iterations or variations of all these low-end phones like LG or Samsung does. They're just focusing. They're taking a very Apple-esque business model of just here's our one lowest of the low-end phone, here's our mid-range phone, here's our high-end, and we're going to continue to support it with software updates and all this other stuff, and it still runs all these cool Motorola apps that we've developed. That's really cool, and it honestly makes me, just want to recommend these to people. So if someone, I have my sister's looking for a new smartphone, it's like, well, there's a Moto E if you're looking for something really low end, or Moto G, whatever. All these other Samsung phones and stuff that are running gingerbread, and they won't ever see an Android update. It's just like, don't even bother with that stuff. Like, go with Motorola. I like what Motorola's doing with all this stuff, and it's cool. Good for them. Good for them.
We got a kind of a funny comment here from Edmund Rojas. He says, "Can you guys get Alonzo Mourning a Moto E? Where is he still on that flip phone?" And I'll explain this a little bit. If you're not a basketball,
can afford several Moto Es.
Well, no. Do you know what this is even about, Kevin?
No. What is the?
Okay, so Alonzo Mourning, NBA player, used to play for the Heat, I believe, was caught on like on the sideline during one of the NBA playoffs games, and he was using a flip phone. And I don't know, he got like a bunch of crap for that.
I
I
mean,
mean, the
you don't
point
see
is,
that
I
very
mean,
often.
I'm sure that he can afford his own Moto E, but yeah,
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
here it
Alonso.
is. Photo. Alonzo Mourning still uses a flip phone.
yeah.
People are just like
Hey man,
clowning on him. Oh my gosh, it's like the crappiest flip phone ever. That's like a $30. I don't even think it's even $30. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, pretty funny. Like, pretty sure he could, I don't know, afford like 50 Moto E's if he wanted to.
I mean, I'm
Maybe
telling
not
you,
though.
like
He's not
there,
hasn't played in a while.
there's people really that just like they have no need for a smartphone. They don't need any. And they think they don't need any of these other smart features. Like, what do I need email for? Like, I don't send emails. Or what do I need the internet for? I'll just go home and everything. But that's crazy though. That's oh my gosh, such an old phone.
Yeah.
He even
Okay.
has extra phones just in case he needs the parts. Old school. That's I don't even know what that means. It's funny.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. All right. So, anyone gonna pick up a Moto E and impulse buy? Gonna impulse buy one, Chris?
Moto E, no. Moto G, I'm kind of curious about, but not even so much that because I have a Nexus 5. But if I didn't have my Nexus 5 and I was just like, you know what, I want to experience stock Android and timely updates and all this stuff, I would probably pick up a Moto G. But Moto E is like just too low, and I think a lot of people are going to regret it because after they install like Facebook, which is almost like 500 megabytes or whatever, they're gonna have no room for any apps, and they're just gonna be hating their life. So,
I think
uh,
I'm gonna pick one up on Sprint.
yeah,
dang, so torture yourself.
get some savings.
Yeah.
I mean, I
The Moto.
I don't know if I would personally want this phone. I don't know how many people, again, in the U.S. are really going to be that drawn to this phone. The pricing is kind of easy for an impulse buy. My biggest question is, you see, Motorola has been really attacking this low price segment, and they've been doing a pretty good job of it. So I wonder if we're going to start seeing other manufacturers follow suit a little bit more. I mean, I'm surprised Samsung hasn't really tried to attack this market in the same way that
Well,
Motorola has yet.
it's like Chris
Kind of
said,
do.
they do have, yeah, they do have devices. It's just, I think one of the biggest differences also is that Motorola is actually advertising and hyping these low-end devices.
Yeah, that's the weirdest part. Most of the time, these just fly under the radar. You'll see them just pop up in T-Mobile's prepaid area or something. No hoopla about it at all. But Motorola's like, we're gonna have an event. Check this out. It's gonna change the world, and it's so crazy because they're like the first company to actually try to hype up their low end stuff, and it's interesting. Moto G. Oh, but we didn't even mention that the Moto G 4G LTE was also announced at the same event. So
Right.
now they have it's $20 more, and now it has 4G LTE,
Oh, I
universal
think
4G LTE.
that's like a main reason why I would probably never even consider the Moto E is because I could not. I mean, yeah, I guess if you get it on Sprint, it doesn't make a difference. But
Oh my gosh, you would.
but without that
Oh,
4G LTE, I just don't know if I could handle both the phone being a little bit slower plus the service being slower.
that's why I never even Verizon 3G is really slow,
Oh yeah,
really slow. Because I'm on Verizon now. Verizon 3G is pretty darn bad. So the Moto G previously on Verizon prepaid only had 3G, and I just would never. I couldn't recommend it to anybody. It's just like you would not like your life at that point. But now with 4G LTE, it's a $200 phone. Like I can totally recommend it to people for sure. More
All
excited
right,
about the G.
let's move on from the Moto E to the OnePlus One. They were running that Smash the Pass give or contest, whatever, and so they started sending out devices to the winners this week, and I guess quite a few people were getting the box, and they were missing like chargers. I think some guy was even missing the entire phone.
yeah. I saw that
And
video, but it was in some other language, so I didn't quite get what was going on. Was it
Was it
they
Italiano?
did they send him a slip that was like, here's your like redeem code to get one, or was it just like, oh, we forgot to put the phone in the box. Like, what was the
No,
deal?
the slip was he actually read the slip thing in English, but it was like, "Thank you for purchasing the OnePlus. We hope you enjoy it." Da 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 da. And it just was like a thanks for buying type deal. But it just the OnePlus actually issued a statement, so we got a statement from OnePlus, and they said that it wasn't their fault, that they triple check their shipments all the time, like before they go out and all this stuff, and that it was probably some sort of mix up with like the courier,
So
but they're gonna work to make sure it doesn't happen again.
someone stole the phone out of the box and then
Yeah, like how is that not their fault? Are they saying that the mail people went inside the box and removed some of the things? I mean,
That's what they're saying. I mean, and this stuff does happen. I used to have a friend that worked at UPS, and they said that they had friends and they knew people that would swipe so much stuff. But the thing is usually that's like, oh, it's an Apple box or it's something coming from Apple. We know that it's probably something good in there, but just something coming from Shenzhen, China, like really, like no one's gonna try to open that and like, oh, I think there's a OnePlus in there. Let's open it up and swipe what's inside, box it up, and still send it to the guy. Like that's kind of weird. Well, I think most of the time when it does get swiped, like the box will never even go to the person. It'll just be nothing. Like, oh, I never got my package. It got swiped. But this was weird because it was.
At
it
what
was an
point in the
empty box.
packaging process did someone tape up this box and be like, "Oh yeah, we'll put the phone in there"? Like, I don't know.
Oh shoot! I forgot the phone. My bad. But I think the funniest part is because OnePlus was already saying, they've been saying it through like every single update and stuff. It's like, hey, we're a new startup, we're a new company, we're gonna be making some mistakes along the way, but we promise to try to make them better and all this other stuff. So they've been saying the whole time that they are gonna probably make some mistakes. Then a mistake does happen, and they're just like, oh no, that wasn't our mistake. It was the courier. Yeah, courier.
but I mean, they did act pretty fast and make sure that they sent out the stuff to those people, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, in most cases, I think even if you get an empty box from Samsung or anyone else, and if it is a courier issue, I don't think they would even replace it. I think that they're just like, well, you need to take up a claim with like UPS or something. I don't even know it, but OnePlus, doing them a solid and just, we're going to replace it. We're going to send you a phone the way it's supposed to come, just by itself, no cables, no charger. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool in OnePlus, but yeah.
All right. iPhone 6. Rumors that it's gonna have a bigger display, which
snap.
we've heard that a million times, but the resolution now they're saying 1704 by 960.
Are you guys ready for almost 1080p? Oh, goodness.
So what is the resolution currently?
The resolution currently is Retina. I can't
Almost.
remember
I
off
think
the
it's
top of my
almost
head.
720, if I'm not mistaken,
It's
because
sub 720.
yeah, it's sub 720, so it's like almost 720. It's like a weird resolution. They always do that stuff, but it's Retina though, so it's better than 720 somehow.
So basically,
that's
they're
the-
just gonna say like,
Okay, so it is. I'm looking at it here. It's 11 for the iPhone 5, 5C, and 5S. It's 1136 by 640. So that's on the newer iPhones. iPhone
Yeah.
4 and 4S was 960 by 640.
okay, so yeah, I mean,
It's maintained that 640, I guess, would portrait kind of resolution, horizontal.
but the iPhone 6, what are they? They're saying like 5-inch screen size, aren't they?
Well, I mean, the current rumor is that they still are talking about two different phones, possibly, and a 4.7 and a 5.5 or 5.1 inch. I'm not sure. It keeps getting switched up, but
So I
one will
mean,
be in the
5.1
5-inch
inch,
range and one below 5-inch, but both
Below,
supposedly bigger.
so around 1080p at 4.7 inch probably isn't too bad, but 5.5 inch at less than 1080p, they can't even call that Retina.
Yeah, that would start to be kind of noticeable.
Not good, Apple. But I mean, it's the newest generation. Like I think usually when they change the body style, they'll skip out on some specs, and those specs are gonna come, upgraded on the next, like the S, 6S or whatever. They're gonna
Yeah.
fix or patching those holes that they created with the new body style. So
Possibly, but the thing with Apple and a lot of things, if you hear some speculation surrounding both rumors about the proposed display size and even these new rumors about people claiming these or that, the thing with Apple, and you got to kind of understand the reason they didn't upgrade the resolution from the 5 to the 5S, and the reason they tried to even you look at the resolution from the 4 to the 5 and the 5S, the resolution hasn't changed a lot on that Retina display, and it has a lot to do with backwards compatibility. They don't want to have app developers go back and change all their apps because the new phone came out. So they try to pick resolutions that can be easily scaled. So I'm sure part of the decision that went into picking this specific resolution, if it does end up being 1704 by 960, which is kind of an odd choice, it probably has something to do with the ease of scaling older iPhone apps or running them in a windowed format without having to make developers go back and update their apps to fit on the new display size. I mean, it's just a kind of a fragmentation issue, and that's kind of the reason that Apple hasn't, with every phone release, up the resolution, up the size, because to them that just creates a big headache for current users, for new users, and I mean for developers as well.
it's true. It's true. Good point.
So, speaking of Apple, I almost forgot about this. Apple bought Beats Music this week, which is kind of crazy.
Or they're going through with it. I mean, I'm not sure if it's even has this been confirmed as fact, or if it's still just kind of like we know this is going to happen. But
I swore that Tim Cook said something about it.
yeah, I mean it's going to happen. I think that was like for
Yeah.
what 3.2 million, some millions of dollars.
Yeah. I mean, it really took me by surprise. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah,
that
it was a
seems
surprise.
like a weird thing. Yeah.
It is. I mean, Beats is kind of, you think about it though, Beats as a headphone company has kind of established a brand that is in some way similar to Apple. You know, it's about both form and function. It's about style and it's about quality.
It's about overpaying.
Yeah,
It's
and it's
about
also about buying expensive headphones. And so it kind of goes hand in hand. I wonder if, because Beats is a pretty big brand, and usually when Apple buys something, they don't really share branding. You know, they're gonna you would think that they would just take the technology and Beats as a brand would dissolve, but I don't think they would actually want to lose that sort of value that's in the Beats brand. So that I
yeah,
think.
that's the hardest part is trying to figure out what the heck they're gonna do with it. Like,
Well, I've heard rumors kind of following the announcement. I mean, the obvious one is like upgraded headphones to be packaged with iPhones and iPods.
Yeah.
Then there's going to be, apparently in iOS 8 and in the next iPhone releases, there's going to be a big focus on audio quality. I think people, as bandwidth has increased, as storage space has increased, the idea of needing these tiny compressed MP3 files doesn't really cut it anymore. So people now have the bandwidth and the resources to kind of stream higher quality music. Also codec improvements, so higher quality music doesn't necessarily always mean a bigger file nowadays. So there's talk that Apple is planning to up the resolution of music on iTunes Radio, and start offering like more high def music listening experience, and they want high quality headphones to go along with it. I mean, that makes sense if their big push with iOS 8 and the iPhone 6 is going to be about an improved music experience. That makes a lot of sense.
Apple is just such a weird company sometimes. Like, who is focusing on audio quality on their phones right now? They, it's so interesting the things that they think are important to improve. You know, like no one
yeah,
else is doing that stuff.
It kind of makes sense
yeah,
though, because it's Apple. I mean, this is where they started. There would be no iPhone if there was no iPod, and
Right.
iTunes kind of saved Apple from kind of mediocrity that it was kind of slipping into in the early 2000s.
but like with Beats though, I mean, we've seen it. We've already seen what happens when a manufacturer tries to bank on the Beats brand, and it really did nothing for
Oh yeah,
HTC.
interesting. The
Nobody
whole
cared.
HTC partnership.
And speaking of the HTC thing, are we going to see the Beats logo on the back of the iPhone?
That's the thing.
Absolutely
Beats
not.
logo on the iPhones or Beats logos on what is it,
Maybe on
MacBooks and
that
stuff? Because
but
they still have Beats in HP laptops, don't they? I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
looked at a Windows laptop in a long time, but
I mean, you're talking about Apple, the company that won't put a Verizon or an AT&T logo on the back of the iPhone. So, I mean, are they really
So
going to clutter it up with a Beats logo now?
Yeah, see, I don't
gonna
think I
come
don't
with
think so, but
our iPhone's gonna come with red headphones now?
No, see, that's what I'm saying. I think Apple buying Beats, a lot of the Beats brand is going to be lost, and that's why I wonder if they're going to just try to keep it separate and just
No,
bank
I
on
don't.
Beats as a brand, or if they're going to just absorb Beats technology.
There's
Um,
there's no way that they are going to remove Beats branding because I think Beats branding is the only reason that anyone would buy Beats. Their
yeah,
technology is not
exactly,
that great.
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, they really aren't
That's why
actually
it's
that
so
great.
insane. Okay, so they're not going to, they would not kill off the Beats branding, but at the same time they would not put the Beats branding on their stuff. So then it's just like, what are they thinking? It's
Who
so
Yeah,
knows
crazy.
though?
it's
I
crazy.
mean, Apple's a lot different now than when Steve
That,
Jobs
they're
was around.
different. They
Maybe
are
they
for
will
sure.
put that logo on there.
I mean, I just think about like if Apple, I don't know, if you were to tell me, you just said like if I came out of a cave that I've been living in for 5 years and someone said Apple just bought audio company, which one was it? My first guess would have been something like Bose. I think Bose and their kind of marketing and style kind of
Seriously.
matches Apple a
Oh my
lot better
gosh,
than
yes.
Beats. And I think Bose is probably slightly better quality than Beats also, but that
Definitely.
I mean that's debatable. But I mean, it just seems like such an out of left field acquisition for Apple.
We got a
It's,
question here about this. Edmund again asked, "Do you guys think Dre should have sold Beats for more, considering WhatsApp was worth 16 billion and makes no money?"
That I mean I feel the
WhatsApp
same
makes
way though.
money.
It does.
What? So yeah,
What?
first of all, that's not true. WhatsApp makes plenty of money. You
Yeah.
actually have to pay for WhatsApp after a year of use. I don't think
Yeah.
a lot of people realize that.
And they have
Has
billions of users
WhatsApp
active.
even been out for a year though? Has it been out for a
Oh
year?
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been around for a while. But no, it does surprise me that Beats didn't sell for a little bit more, but I don't know what sort of, profit margin there is
Uh,
in selling headphones and I mean, you gotta think
3.2 billion sounds like a lot of money though. It's
Yeah,
a lot of billions.
there's just so many of these huge acquisitions now that people forget that. I mean, we're talking billions here,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's a
And
lot.
and don't forget, like we should also point out that WhatsApp sold for whatever billion, but it was only I think it was like 4 billion in cash, only, like 4 billion in cash, and then the rest was all in stocks and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's apples to oranges or whatever.
Yeah,
Apples
apples to orange, apples to beets.
It's apples to beets,
Apples
you
to
know.
Beats, yeah.
Uh,
But I mean, it's surprising. I'm interested to see what kind of effect this has on future stuff. I mean, it's kind of a late acquisition, so who knows if it actually does play into the next iPhone 6 at all? Because I mean, that's only months away. That's been in development for, over a year at this point. So who knows if Beats technology plays into this handset cycle or what Apple is going to do with Beats. But apparently, Dr. Dre is going to be up there as an Apple executive.
That's
So.
crazy. That's just crazy to think about. Like he's sitting in there with Tim Cook.
oh my gosh, him and Tim Cook on the stage together.
I mean, I guess it's safe to say that we won't soon forget
Oh
about
my
Dre.
Oh gosh.
All right,
That's so
I'm just
crazy.
gonna go through the rest of these topics a little quicker here. Windows Phone 8.1 got an update this week to improve battery life. The Moto X Plus One leaked again, and it's looking like the Moto Maker customization is going to be exclusive to a carrier. Like last time, only AT&T could do it, I believe. Also, in Apple news, there's a rumor that iOS 8 on the iPad is going to have split-screen multitasking, kind of like Windows 8. And then we saw mention of the Nexus 6 and 8 show up in Chromium code. So maybe something about those at I/O. I don't know.
Hopefully.
The Windows Phone Store or the Windows Store got a huge update, and then this. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to read
I
this.
thought we made a pact that we would never mention this again.
No, we did not. We were not in full agreement.
Flappy Bird is apparently going to return on August 8th.
Yeah, with
August.
multiplayer or something, right?
It included freaking multiplayer. Do you know how much funner that's gonna be? It's gonna like it's
Funner?
gonna
Yeah, it's going to be so much funner, man.
Dude, the crazy part was that Dong said it was going to be less addictive. Like he literally said it's going to be less addictive and include multiplayer. That does not
Yeah,
equate. That does
more
not
addictive.
make. Dude, that sounds
Hey,
like you're
this
gonna
time
fucking
the game's
nuts.
going to be crappier.
No, maybe the
Like it's
multiplayer mode is you don't actually play against other players. Maybe other players come on and say, "Hey, man, you should take a break. Like it's time to
hey man,
stop."
yeah, they jump in and just like stop your game. Like I think it's time to take a break.
Uh, oh my gosh. All right, and then lastly, the Sony Xperia Z2 leaked once again for
I
Verizon.
wish they would just actually announce this because there's been so much talk like, oh, the Z2 is not coming out in the United States, and the Z2 is a great phone. And actually, Verizon is like the last carrier I would have imagined to get it because Sony usually
Seriously.
PC. But I wish they would release it, but who knows? It's Verizon releasing it, and I mean, I'm a Verizon user, but Verizon is known to screw up exclusive
What
handset launches a lot. So
and
Yeah.
what scares me about it coming to Verizon is that it almost makes it sound like it could be a Verizon exclusive because Verizon loves to just have their own stuff and I really hope I'm still crossing my fingers for like a T-Mobile AT&T version, but I guess
where
we'll
will
see.
they put the logo? Where will they plaster the Verizon logo
They
on?
have they have it. They have it on the top bezel because the Z2 is known for having big bezels, but on the top out of nowhere where it normally says Sony, it says Verizon now. That's crazy. Like what are they doing, man? A big old check mark right on the top front bezel. It looks crazy. Can't believe
Big
it.
old check mark. All
Hmm.
right, let's get to our wins and fails of the week. Kevin?
All right, so you may or may not have heard that LG's gotten a little event coming up at the end of this month. It is strongly rumored to be the announcement of the LG G3. I'm looking forward to going and seeing it, but in the past few weeks, we've been getting plenty of leaks and teases and things like that. We saw complete press renders leak earlier this week, and I mean, I'm pretty stoked on this phone. It's impressive looking. I like what they did with the redesign of the back button. I've said it before. I was a skeptic about the button on the back with the LG G2, but with the LG G3, it's looks really nice and refined. The design looks great. It's got this nice brushed metal look if you haven't seen it. Speculation is that it's not actually going to be made out of metal, which kind of takes some points away from me. If it's just plastic, it'd be kind of like LG's version of Sleather, the S Leather look.
Metal.
It'll be
Leather.
it'll be legit.
Well, actually, no, we need a name for it because they put a G on everything. So if it's
Oh
just
yeah.
fake metal, it's like G G metal. Doesn't sound as good as Slither.
Yeah.
We're working
Yeah,
on that,
Leather.
guys. We're
We'll
working
figure
on
that
Leather
one for you.
rolls off the tongue better.
But but it looks really nice. The phone looks nice, and if the specs live up to what the rumors are, then it's going to be insane. You know, Snapdragon 805, Quad HD display, and the cool thing about the leaks, if you see them, I was pretty impressed. They still managed to keep those bezels pretty thin, so the overall profile of the device looks nice. It looks pretty small, so pretty sleek. I'm stoked about it. Pretty excited. Um, it I'm sure if Edgar was here, he would probably be.
The only deal breaker for me on the G3, I was kind of like set on getting it because I had the G2. Actually, I have Edgar's G2 that I bought off him, but it's just that dang 2K display. I feel like that's just gonna ruin the phone and make everything look weird because it's got to
You think it's
upscale
overkill?
all those.
Well,
Yeah, it's gonna upscale all those low res icons, and YouTube app is still like in 720p, and you're gonna be looking at that on the 2K display. It's gonna look horrible. All this stuff, I don't know. I think they should have just kept it 1080p, but whatevs. Whatevs.
as for my fail, another phone that's been getting surprisingly numerous leaks lately, the iPhone 6. I mean, there's no telling if these are in any way legitimate, but there have been these full-scale kind of mock-up dummy units that have been getting leaked out to people. I don't know if they're being built up. I don't think they're coming from Apple. I think they're coming from people that have either claim to have seen the phone or claim to have designs of the phone in hand, and they're reproducing these mock-ups of what the phone is rumored to look like. Not that bad from the front. I mean, it's a bigger phone. It's kind of got a design that, if this is true, it's going to look more like the last generation iPod Touch, have a kind of more rounded look and thin
Kind of like the
profile.
iPad Air.
Yeah, but if you look at the back of the device, it is ugly. It's got like these weird kind of outline highlights on it that kind of mimic the highlights that we have on the iPhone 5 and 5S, but they just look horrible. I just
They look
really hope
horrible.
I really hope the
Yeah.
phone doesn't look like this because it looks pretty bad.
It looks really bad. Those lines look horrible, and I'm hoping that like maybe the top part will just be glass, so it'll just look like the last time, like last gen, where it's just metal in the middle and then glass on the top. But who knows?
Well,
But it looks pretty gross.
I seem to remember past like leaks of the iPhones coming out before, and people were kind of meh on them, but it seems like when they're finalized, they always look great. So
Yeah, I mean, I still have some hope for it. I mean, if
Everything they're showing, it looks like the Touch, like the iPod Touch, really. Like looks exactly the same.
it could end up being great. I mean, I'm sure Apple will make it impressive, but I don't know. If this is what it looks like for real, then I mean, to me, it's not such a clear kind of victory. Usually, when an iPhone comes out, you kind of expect quality and you kind of expect it to be a really successful phone. But I think Apple could be entering shaky territory as they try to up the display size and change up the design a little bit. So we'll see what eventually happens. But these mock-ups don't have me feeling very hopeful.
they will convince you that it's awesome.
Johnny Ive will. We put these ugly lines on it so people were less likely to steal your phone.
Anti-theft lines. Sorry, anti-theft lines.
All right. I didn't really have a tech win for the week, so my win is the new Godzilla movie, which comes out tomorrow.
Oh,
I am
so hyped.
Yeah, I'm so hyped for this movie. I'm not even a Godzilla fan, really, but I've just seen ever since his first trailer came out. I don't know. There's something about it that's got me really excited. So
maybe because the Breaking Bad dude's in it.
Dude's
in it.
I never even watched Breaking Bad. I mean, to me, Bryan Cranston will always be
Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle.
No, the funny thing is, and this isn't, I don't think this is too much of a spoiler. I've only read like a couple reviews, but apparently the marketing material for Godzilla has pushed Bryan Cranston a lot, like he's the main character, but apparently he's just a supporting character. But I mean, he's obviously like the biggest face in the movie, so they're like, oh, we're gonna put him all over the advertising for this. But apparently, it's a different character. It's like the actual focus of the movie, but it looks really good. I agree. I can't wait to see it.
The other guy that they show in that trailer a lot, the guy from Kick-Ass, is his son in the movie, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
So it makes sense they're gonna focus on a young hot actor and all that stuff. I mean.
So yeah, I'm excited.
The movie looks great.
My fail of the week. Google just randomly decided to release a new case for the Nexus 5. It's a really thin Snap-on case, unlike the previous case I had, which was like a little thicker. But the fail is that it costs $30, and you can literally get the exact same thing. Like, I think you commented on Fandroid, Chris. You can get like the exact same thing for like $9 on Amazon from what is it, Rurth or whatever that brand is.
Rurth. I just say Ray Earth, but I don't think it's Ray Earth. It's probably Rurth. But yeah, Rurth Ring K. The Ring K line that they have is just the exact same stuff. And
where's your cool Joe and go on eBay and probably get it for cheaper and just as nice, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Chris, you weren't here for that episode, were you?
Slip-on cases. What? No, what happened?
You know those official Google cases that are like $35?
Yeah.
Well, I wanted, and they say Nexus on the back. Well, I wanted one, but I wasn't going to pay $35, so I bought like this bootleg one off of Amazon from like Hong Kong, and it came, and it's like you could not tell that it's not this official.
Hold it.
But see, it's blue, and Google doesn't even make a blue one, which is the funny thing. But everything is identical. I mean, it says the Nexus on the back, same cutouts, everything.
Is it a TPU?
Yeah, it's the same exact material.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's
it's
ridiculous.
Okay,
my biggest fail out of those cases, the Snap-on cases, it isn't even that they're that much more expensive. It's the fact that they don't say they don't have like a Nexus branded into them like on the actual phone. If they would have just included that one little detail, that's like something that you can't get from any of these third-party OEM cases. So it's like that would have made it, you know what? Maybe I will spend an extra $20 just so I can still
it says Google.
have it say Nexus on it. Yeah, they have like a little tramp stamp, and that looks like that could probably be like scraped off. It's like a little sticker or something that's on it. But
I actually thought that
thing would have been tight.
I actually thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, not to read too much into a case, but there was that whole thing about, Android Silver or whatever, and all of a sudden now these cases don't say Nexus on it. Let's start speculating, guys.
What's going on? Let's spin it. We're gonna
You heard it
spin it
here
into a
first.
story.
All right, Chris, what do you got for us?
My win for the week is going to be Straight Talk. They just announced the other day. It's actually apparently it's been going on for a while, but for some reason Straight Talk, they have very low like marketing budgets, all this other stuff. But when they send a press release and it's like, hey everybody, check this out, apparently it's already happened like a month ago. But whatever. 3 gigabytes. They now offer 3 gigabytes of data, so they're giving you an extra 500 megabytes of data on their unlimited everything, which is $45 a month, unlimited talk, unlimited text, and now 3 gigabytes of data before you get throttled. And they operate on T-Mobile or AT&T's network. So depending on what phone you have, you hit up their website, you pick what SIM card you need, and if you have T-Mobile, you get your T-Mobile SIM sent to you. If you have AT&T, you get the AT&T SIM. And $45, that's like a dang good price for 3 gigabytes of data. You can't really beat that. And unlimited calls, crazy, 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 crazy. So that's definitely going to be my win for the week.
Straight Talk uses AT&T, right?
Yeah, AT&T or T-Mobile. So it depends on whatever phone you have. And they recently upgraded to 4G LTE, which they didn't have for a long time. They were still using 3G. So like Straight Talk they're coming up, man, and I like what they're doing. But my fail is going to be the Google Play Music app. I don't know what the heck has been going on with it, but I was just asking people on Twitter the other day, and I've been seeing a couple of complaints here and there. But every time I try to stream some music, I'll get the stream could not be played error. Just pops up and the song just stops. I press play and then it plays for another second and I have to keep pushing play and it just freaks out until I play a totally different album. Then everything works for a little while and then you get the same error later. But most frustrating thing in the world, I don't know what the heck is going on. I thought it was the phone. It makes me want to smash my phone into 1,000 pieces. But I'm starting to think it's just the app and Google needs to fix it. So that's my huge fail for the week.
Yeah, I saw people complaining about that on Google Plus actually too. So kind of weird.
Oh, thank God. So yeah, hopefully Google's on it then, because so frustrating. This is not why I pay $8 a month to my stream interrupted.
All right, let's go into our app picks, Kevin.
All right, so what you'll probably say for this app pick is, do we really need another photo filter application to kind of put vintage tweaked filters onto our photos? I mean,
the answer is yes.
The answer is freak yeah, we do.
So this isn't brand spanking new. It's actually been out a little while, but it's starting to pick up some steam lately in the App Store for iOS. It's this app called Lightly, and it's actually using it was created and using filters that were designed by a professional photographer named Cole Rise, and he has done a lot of travel photography and things like that. Has worked with National Geographic and a bunch of other renowned places, and he actually was one of the guys responsible for some of the filters that we've seen in Instagram. So he has a new app out called Lightly that has some filters, and I think the approach here is there's slightly more subtle filters. It's a free app, which is cool, but it kind of takes the VSCO cam approach where you can buy additional filter packs for $1.99 each in the application. But a nice set of filters to start out with. They actually do a nice little subtle effect. So, I mean, used with taste, you can really get away with not having your photo look like it's been this over-filtered mess. But I think the thing that kind of draws my attention to it the most is it seems every time we get one of these nice photo filter apps, they usually start off simple. That's it. It's just we're going to filter your photo, make some nice-looking photos. But then they feel this pressure to start making social things and building out the app to be some huge. So while I don't necessarily agree that we don't need more photo filter apps, we don't really need more photo sharing networks, in my opinion. We have enough. But so this is still a nice little simple app. Just add the filter to your photo. You can share it in other ways, but there's not a whole lot built in terms of its own social network and sharing. So it's simple. Makes your photos look good. You can get some new photo filter effects. So if you're getting tired of the ones available in VSCO Cam or Instagram, lightly can get you a few more.
Super duper subtle. I just downloaded. I'm trying it out right now as you mentioned it, and it's wow. Yeah, it's hard to even tell sometimes when the filter's on there, but I like the UI. The UI is like super cool.
Yeah, there's a neat little trick too. I think if you tap your photo with 2 fingers, you can get a live preview that kind of slices the photo in half and shows you half with and half without the filter. So you can kind of get a look at what the filters do to your actual photos.
So in the future, are photographers just going to be relegated to making photo filters?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he already has like this.
People always talk about.
He's not new to it. I mean, he provides presets that you can buy online for apps like Lightroom and Photoshop and those sort of things. So, I mean, he's been doing it for a while. Photo filters.
I'm telling you, not all photo filters are the same. So people like anytime there's a new app that comes out that has filters, people are like, oh, I already have filters on this app, or my da-da-da already does filters, but not all filters are the same, and some of them are awesome and some of them aren't. That's why I love ViscoCam's filters. But this guy's also got some pretty cool filters. I like what he's doing here. Very subtle and cool.
All right. My pick of the week is a Spotify 3.0 for Windows Phone. The Windows Phone app for Spotify has been pretty crappy for a while, lagging behind Android and iOS quite a bit. But this week it got a huge update to finally bring it up to speed with all the other mobile apps. So if you are a Spotify user on Windows Phone, definitely go give this a download now because it's actually decent.
Spotify, eh?
Yep.
I might need to download that simply because Google Play Music is annoying me lately. The worst part about it is that Google Play Music works perfectly without a hitch on iOS, and that really frouts my weenie. But
I don't know, man. I haven't had much luck with it on iOS, but I mean that's another story.
it's working perfect on iOS. But okay, so yeah, my app pick for the week is gonna be for Android. I'm gonna say Monument Valley. It's a new game that came out. It uses that weird optical illusion, the impossible cube optical illusion, where you have to. I'm sure if you've been in art in like 7th grade or took art in 7th grade, you know what I'm talking about. But it's like kind of like a puzzle game or whatever. But yeah, it's been out for almost a month now, I believe, on iOS, and it just came out on Android, I believe, yesterday or the day before. I get my days mixed up, but definitely worth checking out because of the atmosphere and the cool design, and it's so artistic, and I feel like I want to like screenshot every level I play and just use it as my wallpaper because they're so gorgeous and beautiful. But definitely we're checking out. It's $4 on the Google Play Store, and I don't normally do this, but my app pick for the week on iOS got this really kind of interesting application, and it's called the Boyfriend Log. And I probably shouldn't even mention that I'm using this, but essentially what it is, I guess it's aimed for chicks. It's a chick thing, but what it does is it allows you to, it's like a calendar app, and it has a calendar or whatever, and every day you put, how am I feeling today, or how did my significant other make me feel today? And
you're using this app.
But, so you just put in there, you tap on the day, and then it has like 5 different feelings, like, oh, I'm happy, sad, whatever, and then you can enter in some text too, like, this is exactly where you effed up. So
does it sound like
after months,
report?
Yeah, like after months or years, you go back on your calendar and you can see how many green dots there are, how many blue dots where you were sad, how many red dots where you're just so ticked off. And then you can reevaluate. It's like a status report of your relationship, and if this person is good for you or not.
I have a couple questions here.
Like a breakup letter for you, if it's like going really bad, can they send like, here's why, here's all the
Just send the report, and then you can send the report to them. And
so, I mean, this is so fascinating to me that you're using this app. I got a couple questions for you. Are you using this to keep track of your girlfriend, or are you using it to keep track of things that you do?
Oh, no. I'm using it to keep track of the girlfriend, not me. Are you crazy?
Well, it is called the Boyfriend app, Chris, so I had to ask.
It's so messed up. They really should
And
change the name.
also, I need to know what is your what have you put for the last few days here?
Oh, well, I've only had it for 2 days now. How was your relationship today? But yeah, things are going okay, I guess. Yeah, doing all right. I'm just
Uh,
more okay. Here's my thing: is usually when you get in an argument with your significant other, it's always like, oh, remember there was something you did the other day that really ticked me off, and I can't remember what the heck it was. This is cool for that. So now it's in its own little app in its own little space, and it now just helps you
this is a
remember.
bad idea, Chris. This is a
This is
bad
a great idea. This is a great
It's a
idea.
slippery slope, man. You really have to like crunch the data on our relationships now.
Well, I
There's
look
no, is there
forward.
no emotion left?
I look forward to your upcoming fail of the week when this all comes back to bite you in the butt.
Hey, oh, the best part is that it's password protected too, so you can put a pin on it, so they can't go snooping. They can't go snooping.
Oh, man.
This is like so many sitcom storylines. Like you're gonna get into a fight, and you're gonna be, and she's gonna be like, "Oh, well, you know what? So and so, you did this," and you'll be like, "No, I didn't. I have it on my app here." And
Yeah,
she's
this is
like, "You're
like
keeping
I have it
track of
logged.
this."
this is prime material for that like modern day Seinfeld Twitter. You know,
Oh,
like
it is.
Elaine uses the boyfriend app to.
Because I swear this was a storyline on Everybody Loves Raymond. He started tape recording her when she was like upset about something, and then he
That's a
used
great
it later
idea.
on, and she got so pissed because like, why are you recording me? Why are you keeping track of this?
Dude,
You
this
would
is a
think
that's
that you're smart, but you don't know.
I'm gonna actually submit that as a future feature request.
Audio recording?
Audio recording to save it for later. That would be great.
Oh,
But
man.
awesome app. Great app.
Ladies, if you're watching, Chris is about to be single, so
No word on an Android release, but I'll let the developers know and see if we
uh,
can't get it on Android.
all right. Well, I think this is a good place to wrap up. Had kind of a shorter episode today, but there wasn't that much big stuff to talk about. If you want to talk to us on Twitter, you can use our hashtag MobileRoar. You can also send us an email, podcast@mobileroar.com. And you don't have to ask us questions. You could, leave comments, suggestions for things you'd like to hear us talk about, anything you want, let us know. You can subscribe to the podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and Windows Phone Store. You can follow us individually on Twitter. Chris is at GamerCore, Kevin is at You Don't Know Kev, and I am at Tall Schmo. And we will be back next week, same time, same place, to talk about more mobile fun. See you later, guys.
See you guys.